proud to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
So I want to exercise the power that Ronald Reagan asserted when he said, "This is my microphone," and I'm going to extend the time of this session until 12:15, so we have a little bit more time for exchange. And I would just open up with a couple questions that have been so perfectly ripened by Professor Tribe's intervention. And I guess these are questions both to John and to Nick. Both John and Nick both presume that we can imagine two kinds of conventions out there. We could say a constitutional convention in the sense of the thing that gave us the Constitution, and an Article 5 convention, which is thought of as a different creature. And I take it Professor Tribe is skeptical that there's such a distinction, that there's a constitutional convention which has which is as unconstrained or unconstrainable as we saw the original convention to be. So am I right to think that you think there are two creatures here? And if there are, is there something you can say to suggest why we should think one is more constrainable than the other?
If I may. They are clearly two different creatures if you take the founders' own words at face value. The founders, and particularly the James Madison quote that both the John Birch Society and Professor Tribe rely upon in creating concerns about the Article 5 process, that the quote from James Madison that everyone cites to is actually a quote addressed to the dangers of a wide-open constitutional convention and not the Article 5 process that is by its nature more limited, and we know it's more limited by virtue of the fact that it says expressly that the ordinary amendment process cannot alter the state's equal suffrage in the Senate. Now that implies that if you tried to do a strike all and replace the entire Constitution via Article 5, that you, without unanimous consent, could not eliminate the equal suffrage of the states, which implies you cannot eliminate the states, which implies you cannot eliminate the Senate, which implies that if you did the most you possibly could do through the Article 5 process, you'd be left with a structure that looks almost exactly like the Articles of Confederation. And that's not a mistake. That's by design. So bottom line is this. A constitutional convention that is wide open, or what Madison called plenipotentiary, is not what Article 5 was designed to be. The founders fought against that idea. You can see it in Federalist 85 in particular. That is the specific argument raised. Alexander Hamilton says there's no need for a second constitutional convention because you have adequate powers to initiate constitutional amendments as states through the Article 5 process. Even Patrick Henry, in opposing ratification in I think it was like a 12